1.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to City Hall. I am Councilman Britt Moore, calling to order the meeting of the Finance Committee for March 17th of 2022. Here with me at City Hall is Mayor Pro Tem Peters, Councilman Victor Jones. We were notified by Councilman Holmes that he has a very heavy agenda at his work, and he is trying to join us, so we hope he will be able to do that very soon, but we do have a quorum, so we will begin the Finance Committee meeting at this time. First item on our agenda is item 2022-119, and it is a sole source contract for some meter reading equipment, and Mr. Jeremy Coble will be presenting.
Good afternoon, council members.
Hello, welcome.
This proposal is to replace our current meter reading equipment, which is over 10 years old. Our meter reading equipment is not unlike a computer or a cell phone. It's a computerized device, and much like computerized devices that are 10 years old, you start to have some bugs and glitches. Not only will the new equipment proposed here be able to read our current meter reading process, this will also be used in our AMI process that I'll touch on in a couple other items here to diagnose, troubleshoot, help repair. So even as we move forward, these meter reading devices will assist us as we move along.
Okay, this is something that we've been working on for a while, and bringing it to the fruition for, kind of economies of scale and efficiency. I think we're all familiar with it. Is there any comments or questions for Mr. Coble?
So it's not 4 stations, it's what, 4 bay docking stations?
Pardon?
It's not 4 stations, it's a single 4 bay docking station, correct?
4 bay dock, yes, it's a 4 bay docking station. Yeah, that's what the item is called. That will be used to connect to the device for laptops and phones. You'll basically have complete computerized access connecting to that docking station.
Motion to approve.
Second?
There's a motion and a second for approval. Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Jones?
Aye.
Councilman Moore is an aye. That motion passes. Next item in the same category is 2022-120. This is a sole source contract with Itron ERTs. And Mr. Coble?
Yes. Asking for 4,310 100W ERTs. Brought a sample in case anybody was curious. This connects to the water meter here, and you probably only see this at the top of your lid. We still have approximately 15,000 or so of the traditional non-radio meter readers in the city. We are purchasing this as they go along so that we can prepare for AMI, and eventually we'll have the whole city replaced.
For clarification, and anyone that may be reading, give a brief definition of AMI.
It's advanced metering integration, and an overall synopsis of that is from your water meter and your electric meter will digitally send signals through the electrical lines, the coaxial cables around the city or cellular nodes. It will go back into a central repository from an IT perspective, and that will generate all the utility bills for the city. It will eliminate future need for those to have to go out in the field and read meters. It will also give our customers in the city of High Point in-depth information about their utility usages so they can make good decisions based on that. They can see what they use per hour, per minute of the day, really all the information around what they use specifically, and
Hopefully they can be more efficient and save some money.
absolutely.
There you go. Any other comments or questions? I'll make a motion that item 2022-120 be approved.
Second.
There's a second. Councilwoman Council Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Jones?
Aye.
And Councilman Moore is an aye. That motion passes. Next item, 2022-121, is the contract for the eSource on which we were just discussing. Mr. Coble.
eSource is the chosen project manager for our AMI implementation. This was chosen by a cross-departmental panel in the city. They have been involved with AMI projects from small, medium, and large municipalities. I consider us a medium at the current time in that definition. They have a proven project management system for AMI implementation totaling 20 million meters across the United States. They'll help manage the project timeline, monitor our third-party vendors for their timeliness and quality of work. They will manage testing and system integration and ensure the city of High Point is leveraging all the advantages of AMI that we talked about briefly ago. They will also assist in custom marketing and communication plans for customers so they better understand AMI and how they can utilize it to benefit their lives.
Any comments or questions? Make a motion item 2022-121 be approved.
Second.
There is a second. Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Jones?
Aye.
Councilman Moore is an aye. That motion passes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next item on my list is 2022-122. This has been talked about much. It's a grant opportunity that has come to Thrive High Point and their Minority Entrepreneurship Initiative grant. And Assistant Manager Eric Almeida will present.
Yes, sir. Thank you. As you said, this is a grant that the State of North Carolina Department of Commerce, Rural Economic Development Division has awarded to the city to be passed through to the High Point Chamber of Commerce Chamber Foundation. It's a $1 million grant to support the Thrive Initiative. We are asking that council allow us to complete a memorandum of understanding similar to what we did back in 2018 when they received the HP 365 incubator grant. This is a pass-through. The grant was $1 million. The city has already received $750,000 and will receive the remaining $250,000 in the second quarter of 2022. So there's no direct budget impact to the city. It's simply a pass-through that we are asking you all for permission to complete a memorandum of understanding and then execute those documents with the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay. Any comments or questions on this item? I have a comment to my colleagues at the dais here. You know, we do a lot of these sole sources and for infrastructure type thing contracts. Do any of you think that I'm putting this into the consent agendas? It's fine with me. There is no budget impact, but it is something that doesn't come through every week, every month to the city. Do you feel like this, just for discussion and further, any questions or comments needs to be set as a separate item?
I don't. I think it should go
You
to
good?
consent agenda.
I'm okay with consent.
Okay, very good. And I make a motion to approve item 2022-122.
Second.
There is a second. Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Jones?
Aye.
Councilman Moore? That item passes. The next item parlays right into the one just before. It's item 2022-123, and that is the budget ordinance for the Thrive grant. And Mr. Hollerick, Stephen Hollerick, is up here.
Yes, sir.
I like to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon to you and members of the committee. This item accepts and appropriates the $1 million pass-through grant from the state of North Carolina to the High Point Chamber Foundation for the Thrive Minority Entrepreneurship Initiative. As Mr. Olmedo alluded to, we're just simply a pass-through for it. There's a neutral impact on the city's budget. We would recommend approval.
Thank you, sir. Any comments? I'll make a motion to approve item 2022-123.
Second.
There's a second. Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Jones?
Aye.
Councilman Moore is an aye. That motion passes. Thank you, sir. Next item concerning our fire department is 2022-124. Chief Tommy Reed's going to talk to us about a sole source contract for a remote underwater vehicle.
So what you have before you is just a sole source sheet that council must sign off on. This is the remote operated underwater vehicle that was, the grant was accepted by council, I think, two sessions ago. And we had to come back now to get the sole source award letter signed. So same thing, that's not really the only change, and everything's still, it's 100% funded by the federal government through the state, so we have no money in it other than just the time and learning to run and assisting others.
And I believe you were sharing with me that this is only one of 3 in the state.
Yes, it is. There's one down toward Charlotte, one down east, and then we'll be pretty much the central region of the state.
Well, it's one of those items that's good to have, and you hope you never have to use it.
Absolutely.
Any other comments or questions? I'll make a motion to approve item 2022-124.
Second.
There is a second. Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Jones? Aye. Councilman Moore is an aye. That motion passes. The next item is 2022-125. This is a contract concerning a hybrid brush truck. Tommy Reed is also presenting.
Yes, sir, that is one of the vehicles that was in our purchase plan, and so with budget and city management, we're kind of playing a little bit of catch-up. So this is 2 of the 4 vehicles that we're buying this year to kind of get back on track to where we were. But this particular vehicle is a squad hybrid brush truck, basically. So it could be used for multi-purposes. You can pull the skid unit out that you fight fire with, and it's got deployable benches, much like a military vehicle that, like out here where we have all the problems at the dam, we could go in there, load them people in the back of the truck, and haul them out. So it's equipped to do that. So that is one of the vehicles that we're replacing on our 15-year replacement plan.
Comments or questions? I'll make a motion item 2022-125 be approved.
Second.
There's a second. Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Jones?
Aye.
Councilman Moore is an aye. That motion passes. Thank you, Chief. You showing another item?
I do. Should be a pumper. Well, actually, there's a skidder and a pumper on the same one.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, there are. There's 2 trucks
They
on
were.
that.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Next item is 2022-126. This is a resolution rescinding the one-time exception of real property. It's concerning 1502 and 1500 R1 Johnson Street. Kim Thor presenting. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
We had spent about a year trying to get all the signatures to accept this property from an heir. We finally got all the signatures. When it was time to close, she wanted us to sign an IRS form for a tax deduction, and we were not able to do that because we were not a charitable organization. So because of that, she withdrew her offer to donate the properties.
Comments, questions?
This is the sister of Donna Fletcher or something?
Pardon me?
There's a sister, Donna, somebody reached out to me about this, and it was inherited property that they,
It was inherited property, and there were, ended up being, I don't know, about 7 or 8 heirs that were involved.
this is right there on Johnson Street on the right, where a lot of businesses are, right? That same one, okay.
Right,
I'm familiar.
there's actually 3 properties. I know there are 2 listed here. There were 2 there, that front, and then 1 behind it that was a residential property.
So we're just rescinding and not
Yes.
moving forward with that.
Exactly.
But she needed some, I don't know.
I think she's gonna try to sell them again now, so I don't know, but she'll have trouble getting those heirs' signatures again, so she had a lot of resistance from the heirs, because they just didn't want to deal with it, you know.
Okay.
Anything else? I'll make a motion to approve item 2022-126.
Second.
There is a second. Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Jones?
Aye.
Councilman Moore is an aye. That motion passes. Next item, 2022-127, is a resolution of the sale of city-owned property at 307 Park Street.
American Property Services Company has offered $5,000 for another lot at 307 Park Street. They do plan to build a house. It's 7,841 square feet. We ask for city council approval to run a newspaper ad for the upset bid procedure.
Give me just one second. Got it. Okay. Any comments or questions for Ms. Thor? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve item 2022-127.
Second.
There is a second. Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Jones?
Aye.
Councilman Moore is an aye. That motion passes. Next item, 2022-128, is sale of city-owned property consideration for 235 and 237 Windley Street.
Assemblies of Christ Church Ministries Incorporated has offered $5,000 for the two city-owned lots at 235 and 237 Windley Street. Combined, they're 16,989 square feet. The combined properties will accommodate one dwelling. The one on the corner with the setback would not be able to accommodate one, so you couldn't get two dwellings on there. So we've accepted an offer of $5,000, and we ask for city council approval to run a newspaper ad for upset bid procedure on that.
So we go from 1 for 5 or 2 for 1 for 5.
Right.
Gotcha. Comment or questions?
Motion approved.
There's a motion to approve. I'll second it. Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Jones?
Aye.
Councilman Moore is an aye. That motion passes. 2022-129, a resolution of condemnation on enough properties that I'll let Ms. Thor tell us about them.
Okay, this is for the realignment of the Washington Street project, and we have one property that we need temporary construction easements on that we've not been able to acquire from the property owner, as they have complained that we are causing them problems with a project that they have planned for the property, which we do not feel that we are doing that with temporary construction easements that we have. So we are moving forward with the condemnation with approval from council for a deposit of $3,368, just compensation, if we have council approval.
The project that the owners say they are undertaking, that we are causing them problems, have they described that to you?
This is the old Hoover Funeral Home. Supposedly, they're supposed to tear that building down and put one a little further back and turned a different way on the property.
Have they applied for any type of permitting or
They
anything?
have submitted a plan. It is a architectural plan. There's been no civil plan submitted. But in looking at the plan that I looked at, it looks like they should be able to do it without any problem, because again, we are just doing temporary construction easement and will not affect where the footprint of the building is supposed to go.
Very good. Just wanted to get that in the record. Any other comments or questions? I will make a motion to approve item 2022-129.
Second.
There is a second. Mayor Pro Tem Peters, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Jones?
Aye.
Councilman Moore is an aye. Thank you, Ms. Thor. Next item is some authorization of issuance of bonds, and it is item 2022-130, and Bobby Fitzjohn's been busy lately.
Yeah, issuing some debt. So, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. These are the last two procedural votes that get us to the actual debt issuance process, and then I'll bring an item back after the sale of the bonds, just to clean up the budget side of things. So, the first item, and again, both of these will be introduced to the full council Monday night.
Right.
The first item is the bond order to approve the issuance of up to $40 million of water sewer revenue bonds. These projects, or these funds will finance projects that council has already approved and are underway, including the Richland Creek sewer outfall, the Registers Creek lift station, the Riverdale lift station West Force Main, and replacing and upgrading the east side wastewater treatment plant's UV disinfection system. Debt service on these bonds will be paid for from water and sewer revenues. And
All right.
the next item is a resolution to authorize the issuance of 2022 A, B, and C general obligation bonds. These are the 5.3 million two-thirds bonds you have previously approved for Parks and Recreation, as well as 26 million of the 2019 referendum bonds. 9.5 of those are for the City Lake Park project, 6.5 for the affordable housing project in conjunction with this housing authority, and then 10 million for transportation projects related to Burton and Washington. These bonds will be sold in April. They will close in May, so we'll be bringing an item back at that point, just cleaning up the budget. But essentially, this is the last step that you all will have to individually approve.
Comments or questions? I have a comment. From your professional experience, we've been kind of flat on the Fed rate for a long time. There's some movement that's started. How does that affect your timing and perceptions and plans as you go forward?
Yeah, so we anticipate some adjustment to where we'll issue these bonds, at what rate we'll have to pay. I would say a lot of that's already kind of built in, so it's not like, you know, the announcement this week is really going to make a direct impact. I would say we've already kind of seen that over the past, I don't know, 3 months. When we started looking at refunding bonds, the picture looked a lot prettier, but now we're gonna have to issue at a slightly higher rate, and so there's not as much savings. And that's honestly where we're seeing the biggest impact. On the other side of that, it means we're actually gonna start earning interest income again on our cash deposits. And so there's a trade-off there, but again, I think, you know, the recent announcements won't have a big effect as much as we're just gonna kind of be moving in that direction slowly.
Right. I just know it seems like they've started it, and I think we may see a few more adjustments fairly quickly compared to what they've been doing for the
It
last.
sounds like they're gonna be a lot more aggressive than they were the last time they walked rates up.
Yeah. Okay, we'll look forward to hearing from you on Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else to come before Finance Committee today? That's all that I show on my agenda. All right. Councilman Jones, Mayor Pro Tem Peters, I'm going to call for adjournment if there's no objection. Then we are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.